The Square Ball Podcast.
Welcome to the show, brought to you with Levi Solicitors. 10% discounts on your legal fees at levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. Dan here with Michael and Rob. We're previewing Chelsea. We're looking ahead to Brighton. What do you think is going to happen in these two season-defining games?
I don't know. I think we'd probably lose them both, if I'm perfectly honest.
Michael?
I'm sorry, but they're both better teams than us.
Do you think the Reds have gone?
Our players?
Yeah.
It looked a bit that way.
Yeah.
Both with Ayling's challenge and then...
But was that not down to being 2-0 down, though, within 10 minutes?
Possibly. But, look ahead a bit then. Try and put things right longer term rather than doing that.
Doing that?
Just don't do that, Luke. Do it last game of the season, fine. If we're down, lose your head then. Alan Smith in Valencia, when we're at a point when it makes no odds.
Yeah.
I can see the frustration then, but we were never likely to get anything from Arsenal, so just don't be an idiot would be my advice there. But I don't know, I feel like we're putting a lot of hope in the Brighton game, but Brighton are quite good.
They're like top of the form table at the end of the minute.
Yeah.
And we always seem to struggle against them as well. They just seem to have a style that completely stifles us.
But then that's when we were playing more expansive football. We're not now.
But I mean, I don't really have much faith in Dan James against their three giant centre-backs or things like that. I mean, I would argue we'd look worse if anything. So, I mean, yeah, I can't say I'm looking forward to it. Because
if there's one, yeah, you're right though. We did under Bielsa's football. We never seemed to quite have the measure of them. Did we? Their style, however you break it down, seemed to be effective against us. So maybe our style will confuse them.
That was my hope against Arsenal because they battered us so much at Ellen Road. I thought, well, it'd be a different setup this time. They won't be able to get in down their wings as easily. And there they were every single time they got the ball.
But you can never draw direct equivalence between one team and another, can you?
No.
You've got to play the occasion as it comes on the day. And like, for example, Chelsea probably got Champions League sorted out. Can be caught by Arsenal, can't they? So there's that chase is on, but they've got the balance of the FA Cup final,
and they still finish fourth. Probably, I think they'd have to lose a few. I think 3 games, and Spurs would have to win all theirs or something. They're pretty much safe in the Champions League space. And I don't know if does third to fourth make any difference? Do you get to go in at a later qualifying round or something, or is it
potentially? But they know they're going to get in.
It's not much. There's not much jeopardy in it, truth be told. So just concentrate on the FA Cup. That's what I say to you, Chelsea.
They've got to have half an eye on it because footballers naturally are going to want to play at Wembley, aren't they?
It's really weird because I'm worried that Brighton are in good form, but I'm also worried that Chelsea are in too poor form, and I expect a reaction. I think, well, this can't surely last. Like as soon as we saw them lose to Everton, you thought, well, they're going to be brilliant against us, aren't they? But yeah, you hope that they change some players, I guess. But that's about all the hope I'm holding on to.
I mean, we gave them a good run for their money, albeit playing Bielsa's football earlier in the season.
Yeah, we should have got something from that game. We were very unlucky. We get to say hello to Rudiger again, don't we? Yeah. He was a pleasant character in the first game.
I know that whenever things get bad like this and we're staring down the barrel at Leeds, everyone completely writes off our chances. And I know we've been fairly terrible in recent games, but we're not as bad as you might think. We've got it in us to be better than we are.
And also, anything can happen in a game. Chelsea could have someone sent off early. We could get a penalty. There are things that can turn a game that ordinarily you wouldn't win into a win, and God, do we need something like that? I mean, we had it at Wolves, didn't we?
Yeah.
Truthfully, that was one of those things that we were not getting anything from that game in a million years, and then some madness happened. Look at Derby in the playoffs. That one, they weren't getting back into that game at all. Kiko Kassi comes out, Cooper and him get in a mix-up, and it all crumbles for us for a little period. And why can't someone else crumble at some point, please?
Because then they're not a happy. It's not a happy place, is it, Chelsea at the minute? They're just not very jolly.
They're a weird one though, Chelsea, aren't they? Because they get talked up as like title challenges or whatever every year, and then they finish 3rd or 4th, but it does feel like they're in crisis or something if they finish that way. Albeit then last season they went and won the Champions League, which
it's funny,
isn't fair.
Yeah. but there's talk of the players who are leaving, and there are a few I think who are going to Madrid by the sounds of it. Maybe and foot off the gas, being a bit mercenary about it. I'm trying to find things to cling on to here that might just, if that. I think I said in one of the shows, maybe through the week or last week, that if they can be just 5% off their peak and we can give it everything, you just never know, do you? You never know.
Yeah, and as much as I am, thoroughly miserable here. I'm looking forward to it still.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking forward to the game and the experience of it, and hopefully it will be loud from the start, and it'll be a really memorable night, because you do live with that hope, don't you? Even in the worst of times, you think, what if it's brilliant though? Like just occasionally games happen unexpectedly, don't they? And they end up being like some of your best memories of watching football. So you never know. And I think in the stadium, I think it will be positive on Wednesday. I don't think there will be any particular negativity. There might be if we go 2 down early on or something like that. But I feel like overall, the crowd will stick with it.
Listening to Marsh this morning as well, he's talking about Liam Cooper should be back. He says he believes he'll be back because he thought he'd be back against Arsenal. But I think that's huge if he's back, especially with Ayling now suspended. We desperately need him as captain in there.
Who would you stick at right back?
I guess I mean, he was talking about that in his presser as well. He was saying Shackleton's an option. There's the option of playing Dan James or, God forbid, Rafinha as a wing back. He also talked about moving a centre half there, which I'd presume is Robin Koch, which I really wouldn't want to see, because we need to have some form of threat. If Shackleton would be there, yeah, fine, I guess. I think
asking a hell of a lot of him though, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's not played in. When did he last have a game? Months and months ago.
If it is a wing back, I would much rather it be Dan James there than Rafinha. I mean, I actually think Dan James did all right there at the weekend, and he's kind of got like a Alioski vibe to him of, well, at least he can run up and down, up and down, up and down, whereas Rafa just feels completely wasted there. I think we need him much further up the pitch.
We need some threat, don't we? We need some threat.
Yeah, we do.
We've had none.
And hopefully Gallagher gets another go up top as well, because he's really been quite cursed with luck this season. He was going to get a run, I think, earlier, and he was injured, wasn't he? So he didn't get to play in that, and then obviously got his start against Arsenal, but then the sending off meant he was taken off, which I still don't fully agree with, but that's the decision that was taken. It just feels like he never gets an opportunity, not a proper one anyway. And he's been brought on to, summon some magical powers to get us some points in the last 5 minutes of games, but it's not very fair to rely on anyone to do that. Never mind a 19, 20-year-old to be like, go on then, just go do a goal for us. We need one here.
If Cooper comes back in, I suspect we'll go 3 at the back. You? Oh, well, 5 at the back, 7 at the back. Whatever that was that we tried to do against Man City.
8 in the middle.
Yeah.
Don't think of front and back, just think of middle and side. It's all middle.
Yes. I've got a feeling that's what he'll go for with that. A similar thing to what we did against Man City. Try and invite them on and catch them on the break, which nearly worked in the first few minutes.
I mean, Chelsea have got a bit of a different proposition up front because they have some big strikers as options. They've got Lukaku, and even like Havertz is quite tall as well, so they do have out balls that maybe Man City don't. Like they can, if they want, just kind of chuck it in the box.
Be interesting.
Mixer it as Chelsea do. Stick it in the mixer.
I mean, he was saying that Marsh was saying that he replaced Click at half time because he was on a booking and he didn't want him to get sent off and lose another player to suspension. But I think given the way Bate played as well, and the way Click hasn't really looked like he fits in with this kind of with what's being asked of him anyway, I think there's a decision to be made there as well. I mean, it sounds mad to be like, let's throw Bate in like the most high pressure 3 games we've got of the season, but I wouldn't mind seeing him.
No, point to prove as well against Chelsea, former club and all that.
Get himself sent off.
Settle some old scores from the training ground. Yeah, definitely.
It almost feels impossible to look at the Brighton game without seeing what happens with Chelsea, isn't it now? Because it's got down to that start part of the season where everything is on every game, and Brighton will be framed around what happens against Chelsea. Because if we win against Chelsea, if we defy the odds and get a miracle and beat them, and then suddenly Brighton looks a hell of a lot different depending on what Burnley do, doesn't it? I mean, with Burnley playing before us, I feel like it could be a carnival.
I feel like most of this podcast has just been us going, well, this could happen. But then oh, maybe we'll then they'll lose and then it'll be out. Actually, I'll be fine. Yeah, maybe Brighton's a staying up party.
Oh, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
By the seaside,
almost.
United away.
Actually, we can't technically stay up, can we? Because I think they could still get. They'd just have 2 games to play, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm not too concerned about us winning both games and not being able to celebrate soon enough.
Yeah, this isn't fair. And Brighton is likely to be farewell to Rafa. The horrible feeling I've got about it is if it does go bad, and Lord only knows it's capable of going bad with Leeds, it will turn toxic ultimately because it's the last chance of the fans to voice their disapproval.
Never mind. Farewell to Rafa. Farewell to Calvin.
This season. Yeah, and Calvin as well. Fucking, I thought about that. Yeah.
Don't worry though. Lots more Junior Firpo next season.
Is that it'll be horrible and it'll turn really destructive, and we won't be able to say thanks to them.
I mean, there've been final games. I was at the Charlton relegation. Well, we were already relegated, but the final game in the Premier League, and that was a bit more of a carnival atmosphere. But then you saw, because it had already happened, people were just being like, "Ah, well, fuck it, one last chance to kind of go to a game in the Premier League and have a bit of a party." Whereas Ipswich going down, that ended up with bottles being thrown at Ipswich fans and a pitch invasion and horrible atmosphere.
Maybe it goes toxic a bit earlier when people realise it's got away from us, and then towards the end we then get a chance to be nice, and then there's a sad lap of disgrace at the end. We go, we're never going to see you again, but that's not going to happen because we're going to stay up.
Okay, let's just go with blind faith. The thing is, I'm aware this is coming from me, but pessimism really doesn't get you anything. It just means you're upset about things before they've happened. Yeah. Which is, so you get to be miserable for a bit longer, which is why I just try not to think about it sometimes.
What do you reckon then points wise from these two? Or is it even worth thinking about?
Zero.
Great. Rob,
if I'm honest.
I mean, you were just saying there's no room for pessimism, so I'll say 3 points.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I was going to go for 3. Let's go for 4.
I have to just not think about it because I don't like... Optimism is comforting. It's like... But I don't like to allow myself these things. It's like people find comfort in all sorts, don't they? In religion things. But I think, no, that's cheating. That's pretend comfort. You need to just suffer with this.
You want to be that monk who lived on top of a pole for like six months or whatever, don't you? In the lotus position.
So yeah, I'm just going to ignore it.
Okay, so the genuine verdict is please, isn't it? Never mind what points we actually think we're going to get. It's just please.
As Gandhi said, believe.
There you go, part 2 done and dusted. Then on to part 3, heroes and villains for the week. Stick about.
The Square Ball Podcast.